Roger, the last time you sat here about 50 weeks ago was after a very difficult loss. Since then, you've had one of the most amazing years of tennis. You're #1. You just won Wimbledon, medaled at the Olympics. Did you take anything from that match that led to this amazing year, or would you attribute it to some other factors that you want to enumerate first?
Well, I mean, I think it's not only last year's match that made me get back to world #1. There's been a lot of sacrifices done before this match here. As you remember, I also had a tough loss at Wimbledon. That definitely also shook things up a little bit. But then when it happened the second time around, after being up 2-0, you know, I took a bit of a break after going to Sydney for Davis Cup the following week after here, and took some time to assess the situation and how should I move forward. And then, of course, it was great to start off with the win in Basel last year in my hometown, and then the rest we know. So it's been a great last 12 months, and I was able to stay injury free. And I mean, I always did believe that if things, you know, turned for the better for me, I was going to be always very near to world #1. I mean, I wasn't far off, but I couldn't plan with Novak going on a 40-match winning streak, or, you know, Rafa going for almost 4 Grand Slams in a row as well. So other guys also have their part to play in it. It's not only up to purely myself, and that's where you have to be patient sometimes and just keep on working hard and believing that what you're doing is the right thing as well.
I believe your twin daughters, Mr. Federer, are turning 3 years old, and they were at Wimbledon when you won this year. And I've heard you quoted saying that having the family has helped you become a better player. I know in years past there were champions that sometimes got distracted when they got married or were juggling family and career. Do you think that having the children, being married, has made you a better player?
I mean, not worse. I'm back to world #1. So, and honestly, I think, was it 2009 when the kids were born? I think I won Cincinnati. I think about the second tournament back, and then when I turned 30, I also right away won a tournament where people thought now I'm old. So I think it's always worked out well for me. But of course, it's not been just a easy cruising either, you know, having twin daughters and traveling and trying to manage the situation with my wife and the kids, and just seeing what's best, what can we learn. It was a hard process too, you know. I mean, not that we're through it, but it's definitely getting a little bit easier now that they're 3 and not newborns. So it has also definitely had its role to play, but I'm happy I've been able to combine it, because first up, when I heard that Mirka was pregnant with twins, I was worried about my practices. I was worried about the playing schedule, that it was never going to be the same again. But my wife has made it work for me, and she's made incredible sacrifices for all the family, and I couldn't be more grateful and more thankful. So it's been a great ride, and yeah. So for that reason, having that Wimbledon victory plus seeing my kids in the stands after the match was, yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So it was a dream come true for me.
Last fall, the term 1% became part of the American lexicon, the Occupy Wall Street movement, where 1% of supposedly the Americans own 99% of the wealth. It seems like in your business, 1% of the ATP Tour wins 99% of the tournaments. Is that good for the industry? I know it's good for you, but is it good for the industry?
I think it is, you know, to be quite honest, that it's great that people follow tennis, that they know most likely who they will see, you know, in the final rounds. I mean, it's been incredible to see the top 4 guys for so long now. Let's just say it's at least 5, plus me and Rafa. We had more years to that, I guess 8 or so. Just how consistent we've been, because it wasn't always like that. Back in the day, you had much more, you know, the good hardcore players, the good clay court players, the good grass court players, and then obviously throughout the slams we wouldn't match up, but now everybody shows up at the slams and plays so well. That's why there's such a shock to it now that Rafa pulled out. People almost can't believe it, but back in the day people always used to pull out from time to time from Grand Slams because of injury, or because of being tired, or because of scheduling. So things have obviously changed in a big way in the last years, and you always go through transition periods as well, which was the case at the end of the 90s, a little bit maybe in the beginning of 2000 until 2004, I'd say. And then some like it different, that there's a different champion every week, you know, and some prefer the continuity. I think the combo is a good one for sure.
Roger, as you've returned to number one, Serena Williams has returned to a dominant position. What are your observations of the way she's playing and maybe the place she has in the history of the game now with her coming back to this dominant form?
Well, I mean, it's just nice to see them still playing. They've been around for a long, long time. I think they maybe started 3 years earlier than I did on tour, and both Serena and Venus are same age, if not older. So, I mean, of course, women make the breakthrough earlier, but they have much more tough teenage years than I have, because I was still playing the juniors. So you can't really compare them. That's where I think just her longevity is already very nice to see in a sport that in the past maybe has retired many greats early, at 23, 25, 27, you name it, it's all happened. So it's nice seeing them still playing really, really well, and almost a full schedule, because we know she's had some issues, and so I think that makes the return to the top of the rankings and to the top of the game even more exciting. And I think it's great what she's done over the last 15 plus years, but it's been an amazing summer for her, like for me as well, and it's been nice seeing it. Then again, I don't know how well she's exactly playing, because I am not the expert of women's tennis, even though I'm married to a former women's tennis player, but from what I saw, I thought she played great.
What sense do you have of how she's dominated?
Well, I mean, we always knew that probably if she's on, she's very hard to beat, and I think she just proved that point again in the summer.
Roger, can I get your thoughts on the Lance Armstrong saga?
Don't know enough about it, to be honest, and I didn't follow it from the beginning till now. I heard the story come out that he's not going to pursue anymore the whole process. So I don't know what to say about it, because I didn't follow it enough, to be honest. Yeah.
Roger, can you talk about how different you feel coming to the Open this year as opposed to last year as world #1? Did you feel different at all?
How did I feel last year? I mean, I think I felt good last year, but probably felt that maybe at times the matches were not always in my racket, whereas maybe this time around I feel like if I'm playing well, I can't dictate who's going to win or lose, so it's going to take something special for my opponent to win. That's kind of how I feel right now, but then again, I might walk away from Monday and lost the first round, so you have to be always very careful in how you say it and how you then play. So I'll take it one match at a time, and there's no doubt about that. I'll never ever underestimate an opponent ever again. I did that enough when I was a teenager, so those times are long gone. But I'm just happy how I'm playing. I already reached my goal for the year, becoming world #1 and getting Wimbledon again and getting a medal for Switzerland. So it's been incredible, but I do have this one left for me this year where I really, really want to do well, and couldn't be more happy returning here as world #1. It's super exciting. There's no doubt about that.
And Roger, you have been working very hard, and you have had very consistent results. And you had a belief that you could win, another Grand Slam, and you could be #1. But did you ever doubt, at that, that you could achieve what you have achieved lately?
No, I mean, doubts maybe. I mean, you believe less maybe, or you believe more, yes, but doubt not really, because I knew how close I was. I know that sometimes the press or people started to paint the picture that I was very far off. If you look back at the results I had the last, let's say 2 years, it doesn't matter how far you look back, I was actually extremely close on many occasions to give myself multiple chances again to win slams, and sometimes it was a close call that it didn't work. Sometimes the opponent played too well, sometimes the opponent came in with momentum, sometimes I didn't play a good match, so it was just a combination of many things that set me back at times, but I never gave up. Mentally I was always ready to do the work and willing to travel and give it a shot, and at the end it all paid off, so I'm extremely happy. So right now I know obviously now people think I can win every Grand Slam that comes up, and then if I don't win US Open I will never win one again, so that it's always the same story, but I'm just happy I was able to get Wimbledon, and it just showed what I kind of knew, is that if I do play well I can win Grand Slams.
Two more questions?
What had changed last year to make you think that matches weren't on your racket all the time? Was it just others?
Well, I mean, I was playing great at the French last year, I was playing great at Wimbledon, and I had that tough loss, and then I had a bit of a dodgy Canada and Cincy, where I felt like that didn't go the way I, wanted it to go. I lost to Tsonga and Berdych, who were ranked between 4 and 10, and that's the kind of guys you definitely want to beat to give yourself the chance then to get to the 1 and 4 ranked guys, So if you start losing against those guys too often, also that's going to play tricks on your mind. How are you going to beat the best, even though it's not really related. So maybe I did come into the US Open with a few losses that already maybe shook me up a little bit, but I knew US Open I usually play so well, and then everything went great. I had a great campaign into the semis and 2 sets to love up and you name it till the match point as well. That it was just not meant to be, I guess, somehow. But that's maybe what I meant with saying that it was just a tough stretch, and maybe I believed a little less at times than it was in my racket.
Roger, both McEnroe and Agassi said at a World Team Tennis match this July that tennis right now at the top, men's tennis, is the toughest ever. Being somewhat of a tennis historian, do you think you 4 guys are the toughest maybe in history in terms of competing against each other and winning events?
I'd say no, but I don't know. Just because you look back maybe 15 years, and then you had Sampras, Edberg, Becker, and Agassi, and I don't know who else, and those guys weren't good at what, you know what I mean? So, and then you look back further back 20 years, and you had the Connors and the Lendls, and those weren't good either. I mean, I don't know. So for me, that ain't respectful. So it's just different times, and definitely more athletic. There's no doubt about that. But then again, we don't play doubles, we don't play mixed, we don't. Maybe we play less matches today because it's more taxing, but we also do play less best of 5 set tennis than they used to play. So that's why you can't compare really. But I know we have somewhat of a golden era right now. I feel that truly, and it's nice to see Andy making his move at the Olympics. Nice to see Novak having had an absolutely ridiculous year last year, and then Rafa and myself still being around. So it's definitely good times. And past that, we still have great champions as well. So it's very interesting at the top right now, and the depth I think has never been greater than right now. There's no doubt about that. But then we're the best ever, the 4 of us. I mean, that's a really difficult call.
Roger,
Are you able
your
to
turn.
give us a little sense of if anything came from the meeting yesterday, the ATP meeting? There's been some mixed messages, rumours flying around. Can you give us a sense of what you thought emerged from the meeting yesterday?
Well, I was in 4-hour meetings, so I don't know which one you're talking about.
Well, I think the players had theirs first.
Right, exactly. I was there too. Look, it's about just getting back to the players, making sure everybody's on the same page and understanding what the situation is. There's obviously different processes in place right now, and different things we're working on. There's not only the Grand Slam issue, there's many other issues always pending, so we're working on all of these and trying to inform the players. And one thing I think has been the case, we've always wanted the players involved. Now finally we really have engaged players, and I think that's a very good thing. The other part is obviously managing that. Is not always the easiest thing, but you really do see that players don't feel like, oh no, another player meeting, I don't want to go to it, I'd rather do something else. Players are actually excited to go to the player meeting. We weren't actually going to do a mandatory player meeting, but it was requested. So that's what then the ATP set up, and I thought it was a good meeting. And obviously there's always going to be rumours flying, but as long as I'm president of the Player Council, it's always going to stay behind closed doors what exactly has been talked about. And I think we're on the right track for many things, and obviously we try to solve it the best way we can for all parties involved in on all issues really.
Last question.
Do you miss Rafa's presence here? It's sort of that odd way that rivals miss each other when the others are.
I mean, it'd be better if he would be here, but then again, it's good to see him maybe also heal, giving it a chance to heal and taking tough decisions like not coming here. I mean, it's been a brutal process for him, I'm sure, missing the Olympics, which was, I'm sure, also a big goal for him, and then here the North American swing, and now this. I mean, this is significant, but it's not been 6 months yet, so I think it's not the end of the world, but it's obviously much better if he were to be here. There's no doubt about it. But he's had a great run in Grand Slams as well, and playing so many tournaments. Many people thought he was going to break down way earlier, and he has played, I think, 4 years longer than people already expected. People thought 4 years ago the end is very near, and none of that. So he's still, I just hope he's just taking a little rest right now and then hopefully coming back strong for the end of the year.
Questions from the Swiss press, please? Any Swiss press?
Bonjour. Ça va?
5 mois de suite, la finale de lundi, l'année dernière, c'était pas particulièrement. Est-ce que le fait de revoir
Qu'est-ce qui était le bordel?
c'est la personne
Ah oui.
tout ça. L'année dernière, on entendait dire que peut-être ça allait changer le programme.
Mhm.
C'est de nouveau le même. Est-ce que tu es un peu déçu de ça, quoi?
Bon, après, ils ont des contrats. Alors après, ça, il faut un peu comprendre aussi, d'un côté, mais de l'autre côté, s'ils vont annoncer que ça va pas changer, ou s'ils vont annoncer que ça changera pas, en fait, c'est là où il y aura des problèmes, en fait. Alors, on attend quand même qu'il va y avoir un changement d'une façon ou l'autre, mais je peux rien promettre parce qu'en fait, c'était assez compliqué et difficile de parler avec eux, honnêtement. Alors, on comprend leurs problèmes, mais c'est pas vraiment un problème pour moi et pour les joueurs.
Qu'est-ce que tu penses de ton tableau?
Je l'ai pas regardé maintenant, je l'ai vu vite, 1 minute et tout ça.
Mais tu feras toujours le premier tour d'un tournoi du HLM, c'est toujours ce que tu gardes, c'est toujours plus piégeux qu'un autre tournoi, ou maintenant avec l'expérience que tu as acquise?
Bon, je pense que j'aurais pu avoir pire, hein, au premier tour. Si tu regardes d'autres grands noms qui flottent toujours, bon, après les chances sont petites quand même que tu te fais avoir par un mec qui devrait être peut-être dans les 30, mais il est pas. Il y a quand même moins de surprises depuis qu'on a 32 têtes de série, hein. Ça il faut dire aussi. Alors je pense que c'est pour ça, tu peux t'attendre à quelque chose comme je l'ai reçu en fait. Maintenant on sait que Donald Young il peut très bien jouer. Bien sûr, il a quasiment pas gagné de match cette année, c'est juste incroyable. Alors j'espère pas qu'ici il commence à se lâcher. Mais l'année dernière, il a fait un bon tournoi. Il va certainement revenir maintenant avec un peu plus de confiance que s'il va ailleurs en Europe, par exemple, sur une surface qui lui convient moins. Mais il est talentueux et ça, il y a toujours un certain risque de jouer contre un joueur comme ça. Mais après, je me réjouis de jouer contre lui parce qu'il a beaucoup de talent. C'est un bon joueur. Et c'est vrai, c'est ça, la concentration, elle est sur le premier tour et pas sur le troisième tour, ma première tête de série, par exemple.
Genre, on voit beaucoup dans les tournois Grand Chelem, là, il y a énormément de joueurs qui ont 30 ans ou plus. Et,
déjà Roland, hein.
Comment?
Déjà Roland Garros, on avait déjà un record.
Ouais. Et de moins en moins de teenagers qui arrivent à s'imposer dans les 100. Comment tu expliques ça? Est-ce que c'est uniquement physique, le fait de ne pas avoir la même capacité physique à 16, 17, 18 ans que plus tard? C'est l'expérience, c'est le matériel qui est plus exigeant pour...
Je sais pas, honnêtement, je me suis souvent posé la même question. Pourquoi il y a moins de teenagers que par exemple de notre génération où il y avait combien? Une quinzaine peut-être. Tous ceux qui jouent presque aujourd'hui encore, qui sont classés dans les 50, tout le monde était presque teenager dans les 100 quoi. Aujourd'hui, quand tu as un mec dans les 100 qui est teenager, tout le monde est fou quoi, de ce joueur, ce qui est normal aussi. Mais à l'époque, on avait beaucoup plus. Leighton Hewitt, il était à 16 ans déjà dans les 100. Bien sûr, tu as des exceptions, c'est toujours le cas, mais je suis surpris aussi. Peut-être c'est devenu plus physique parce que les surfaces sont plus longues aujourd'hui, et peut-être que aussi, comment dire, le depth de men's game est beaucoup plus grand aujourd'hui. C'est plus compliqué de sortir des challengers aussi parce que les challengers peut-être sont automatiquement aussi plus forts, et les pros, bien sûr, aussi plus dans les challengers de jouer là-bas, et c'est pas juste aussi facile qu'on pense de juste gagner 3-4 challengers, de prendre des wildcards tout partout et après être dans les 100 de nouveau. Alors je sais pas qu'est-ce que c'est exactement, mais en tout cas ouais, ça a l'air que c'est plus compliqué aujourd'hui pour un teenager de faire le pas chez les pros dans les 100 surtout, mais en même temps c'est agréable à voir aussi que les joueurs des 30 ans ça joue plus longtemps, même si tu as l'impression, ouais, c'est le cas aussi, c'est plus exigeant le tennis, plus physique et plus dur tout ça. Alors c'est une combinaison intéressante en ce moment, je dirais aussi.
Last question.
Ça représenterait quoi une victoire ici à New York? On sait que peux dépasser Connors et Sampras au nombre de victoires ici. Ça serait quoi aussi par rapport à la défaite en finale des Jeux Olympiques? Est-ce que ce serait pour toi une sorte de revanche qui permettrait d'évacuer aussi le fait que tu n'aies pas remporté le titre olympique?
Non, bon, ça n'a rien à voir avec les JO pour moi. Alors, ça c'est complètement à part maintenant. Même pas une fois pensé à la finale de JO quand je suis arrivé ici. Je vois beaucoup plus les dernières 10 ans, comme j'ai toujours bien joué ici, à quel point ça me tient à cœur ce tournoi, que j'ai toujours énormément de plaisir de voir les gens de New York ici, de voir des copains que j'ai ici, de jouer dans le plus grand stade au monde. C'est juste excitant. Alors, ça représente toujours quelque chose de très très grand parce que c'est le dernier grand chelem de l'année. C'est celui-là qui est encore une fois sur dur après avoir joué sur terre et gazon, surtout cette année un bon moment. Que bien sûr tu peux savourer celui-là un peu plus longtemps, par exemple si tu gagnes Roland Garros ou après toutes ces dernières il y a Wimbledon. Alors moi je l'ai fait 5 fois et je sais à quel point j'étais chaque fois très, très heureux et j'ai souvent après bien conclu la saison derrière aussi. Alors c'est normal que ça serait incroyable de pouvoir remporter le titre ici, c'est normal.
Et le fait que tu puisses dépasser Connors et Sampras,
bonus. C'est un bonus. Voilà.
Du bonus.
Ouais, c'est un bonus. Ok?
Okay, thank you.
Merci.
Merci.